By contrast, the southern half of Nicosia is home to the Christian Greek Cypriots. Many of those living here, like Harry Lowe, came to the capital as refugees. Harry's hometown is now in the Turkish-occupied north.
Before 1974, I was living with my family in the small town of Morphou. It was a beautiful place, and Morphou was built in a big garden surrounded by lemon, orange and tangerine trees.
But Harry's idyll was to be shattered. Since the 1960s, tensions between the Greek and Turkish Cypriot communities had often erupted into violence. The invasion of the Turkish army in 1974 was a godsend for the harassed Turks. But for the 200,000 Greek Cypriots living in northern Cyprus, it was a disaster. Under an aggressive process of population exchange, Turkish Cypriots from the south were driven north, while Greek Cypriots, like Harry and his family, were exiled to the south, leaving behind their homes and livelihoods. They became refugees overnight.
We left all our belongings. Everybody thought that we'd be coming back, so we left with just the basics for ourselves and our children.
Today, Harry can only use the well-thumbed pages of photo albums to share the family heritage with a new generation.
For me, these pictures are a treasure. If I didn't have these photos, how else could I show my grandchildren the life we had back then in Morphou?
4 decades after fleeing, the pain of exile hasn't diminished.
It's the land of my ancestors, the land of my parents, my grandparents. Of course I miss it, and of course I want it back.
Their old house in Morphou is less than 40 kilometers away. The prospect of never being able to return is heartbreaking for Harry. It calls to mind all that's been lost in the conflict.
Nobody can believe this. Nobody can understand this unless they lived it. No one can understand unless they themselves are refugees, unless they lost loved ones in the war and are still waiting for them to return.